Okay, so we're all set up with YouTube. Okay.
Good. Let's
We're
start
good.
with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands,
One
one nation under God,
God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to just a couple of quick notes. As everybody should know by now, we are considered in a yellow zone because of the numbers that have increased over the past couple of weeks. I'm hoping that we don't enter the red or orange, but unfortunately, it may seem that it's likely that we may. I'm hoping that people take absolute care to not gather, even small gatherings at this point, because of number of cases can be considered spreaders. So we should, I'm urging everyone to take absolute caution and use your common sense, wear your masks and try not to come in contact. We should always think and feel, believe that everybody could, or anybody else could also be a asymptomatic spreader. So please just take the caution properly. As far as the lights, I know that we had, as I discussed the last meeting, we have gotten about 25 locations in Great Neck that have been noted to have not sufficient lighting. So we are going to add, I'm hoping by the end of this year, we're going to add 25 more LED lights to our streets. After that, we will again do another survey and see if there are any needs for any more lighting. And I'm hoping that people reach out to us and give us the addresses and locations that it needs. The RFP for the new Village Hall is on our website. Asking everyone who is interested, who knows someone who may be interested and can meet the criteria to be the architect for this new Village Hall to reach out to us. The deadline, I believe, is January 15th. Am I correct, Abraham?
Yes, yes.
At that time, we're going to start interviewing those who are interested and meet the criteria. And I'm hoping to have an accepted plan by, I believe, mid-April. That's what we discussed, correct?
April, May, yes.
Yes. That said, I would like to open the meeting for the agendas.
Mr. Mayor, just a few updates regarding the agenda, regarding the items that we have had previously on the agenda. We have discussed, just a moment, I'm pulling it up. The number one, the court server migration has completed finally. I got the confirmation from our IT guys. They removed the old server that was used by the court. Everything is now on one server, and the court portion of it is segregated, so only the court can have access to it. Therefore, meeting the requirements of the court requirements. So we don't have any access to their portion. However, they operate on our server. This resulted in a $1,500 a year savings, because we don't have to pay for monitoring of two different servers, rather we only have one server. The amnesty program ended last night. 56% of the eligible tickets were paid. The total amount that was collected was a little over $31,000. As of now, again, everything goes back to the way it was. And unfortunately, whoever did not take the opportunity to pay their tickets, they have to now pay it back with the penalty. The Village Hall overhang in the front was completed over the weekend on Friday and Saturday. Now we have a new overhang and it's on the budget, few $100 less than what it was approved by the village. The LED traffic sign will be shipped in 2 days. We were expecting to get it 2 weeks ago. There was some sort of a hiccup. They didn't get to us on time. I believe it was because of the COVID. They should be shipped by this Thursday and we should have it by early next week. The LED lights, as you mentioned, they have been ordered and they should be shipped as well. I believe in a week. We should get it soon after. With that said, the first item on the agenda is a request to allow permitted parking on the Stony Run Road. This item came in front of the board last week. However, this was tabled till this week. Mr. Rahimzadeh, are you on the meeting?
Yes. Hello. How's everybody?
Hi.
Good.
How are you?
So I
We've-
sent
Rahimzadeh,
mine.
Let me just show the petition that you collected. Mr. Rahimzadeh went around and collected 7 signatures from the residents in the cul-de-sac that he lives. And the request is to replace one side of the street with no restriction and leave the other side as the way that it was, I believe. Is that what you're requesting?
Yes.
Okay.
How many people live in the cul-de-sac?
4 houses. There are 4 houses in the cul-de-sac.
Well, on the whole block, there's 12 houses on the block. At the end of the block in the cul-de-sac, there's 4 houses, Mayor.
Okay, so 7 out of 12 said okay.
Well, you had specifically asked me to get houses on Stony Run Road, not including the cul-de-sac, because they were not going to be affected. But obviously, they are going to be affected. So.
Okay.
12.
One of the things that came up, and I don't know where you stand on this, and I think that's something that the board discussed briefly before. Have you thought about expanding your driveway so you can fit more cars? Because apparently other people have done that.
Yes, I have. It's just not financially feasible right now for me.
Okay.
And I should also note that, I don't know if Brian mentioned this, but I should also note that every single person that signed was very happy to sign and really wanted this to happen. And I should also add one thing that people had mentioned, they just didn't know which side it was on, but it didn't matter to them. They wanted it to happen. And then also one person asked me specifically to just mention that if it's possible to block off Saturday morning so that the synagogue, people who go to the synagogue wouldn't park on the street and leave their car for the day. But again, they wanted this to go through. So I just wanted to relay that information. They had requested me to relay this information, so I'm relaying it. Oh, and one person also mentioned, sorry, this is not specifically related, but that, and I noticed it when I drove in, that on the corner of Old Mill and Stony Run, the lights are it's very dark. There's some branches blocking the light, and maybe it's not like the brightest. So that's a separate note I could remind the board in a little bit after we discuss the parking situation.
Any comments from the member of the board?
I think that looking at this now, you need a parking space for your parents and for the grandparents. And I don't think you're looking at this as it will be in 10 years from now. When you have children who are on the street, want to play. One of the beauties of that block is that, and I think a lot of the reasons why people initially moved to that block is because it's a beautiful cul-de-sac and it has limited parking for during the day for when children play. And especially now during COVID, when school is remote and kids will have, a few hours that they could go out and not worry about cars parked on the street. I think it's very short-sighted to think of changing the rules and not considering down the road, how this will affect you. I don't think that was considered, and I think that if there are 2 spots in your driveway, that could be adequate. I know that when I have parking restrictions on my block, and you make relationships with neighbors when you need extra parking. You ask if you could there, and I think, that's how you get to know people, how you get to know your neighbors. People have asked me if they can park in my driveway, and, you give in when you can. It's just something to consider, but it is a beautiful block and it's also a narrow block. And I think about a large vehicle trying to get through, especially a fire truck or something, they're 8 feet wide and then additional 3. I don't know what exactly the dimensions are, but then the mirrors on both sides. And then when you consider the width of a car parked there, it limits the block so much. We're talking about 6 hours a day. And I think for those 6 hours that you have that restriction, I think it's not such a bad thing. I think it's something you would appreciate, going forward.
Mayor, can I just make a comment? It's
Sure.
Louis. I just want you to be aware that if you, so of course it's up to the board to make their own decision, but if you make a decision to allow parking, I just want you to be aware of the domino effect of all of the other streets that are in the area. Every street around there has the same restrictions. Some streets, they say June to September. Some of them, as this block, just says that they're restricting it all the time. But you might want to just put the June through September on that block and make that the restriction. And then in the summertime they can park. But I think that you're going to create a domino effect of everybody around you when you start changing those signs. Everybody in those surrounding blocks are going to start to come around and ask for something or something similar. That's my experience in doing this over all of these years.
I have the same experience. Mr. Rahimzadeh, you bought the house a year ago?
About a year ago, a year and a half, something like that.
Okay, and when you bought the house, you knew what you were getting as far as driveway and parking spots. And you have the luxury of having one of the wider properties in the village. It looks like you have plenty of room on the side of your driveway to put another lane of parking. And I don't think the cost is prohibitive to pave an extra car width that would solve your problem without, causing this kind of issue where you have to change the village code in order to solve your particular problem.
Is somebody else speaking?
Not officially. I think there's somebody in the background.
Is everybody? Is everybody that wanted to say something? Did everybody chip in?
Nathaniel, do you have anything else that you want to add in response to the board?
Yeah, I'd like to reply to. Yeah, I'd like to reply to the comments. So, we do have a daughter. We love walking around the cul-de-sac. We think it's great. We did heavily consider the parking on the street when, thinking about kids playing. we do intend to, try to have more kids later on. We want to have our kids playing in the street. Seeing it personally, just for myself, seeing as how only one side will have cars parked. Yes, there will be traffic coming and going, but we think that it's worth the sacrifice of having to move aside every once in a while for a car to be able to accommodate people coming and going to our property personally, and then also the rest of the street, the other 7 people who I'd met with, they really wanted this. I don't know. They've been here longer than I have, obviously. There's one house that's newer than me, two families that came after me, but everybody definitely felt like this was something that they wanted at the end of the day. In respect to being too narrow for trucks and wide cars to go through, I'm not exactly sure about the width of a fire truck, but with both cars on both sides, outside of the timing where cars are restricted to park there, I've seen like the giant big FedEx trucks and Amazon trucks pass through 2 cars that are parked on the same side in the same space on opposite sides. So I don't think it's as narrow as you may think it is. Regarding the domino effect of surrounding blocks, I don't really see how that's necessarily a bad thing if this is what the people of the community need and or want, per se. And in regards to the June to September lifting of restriction within June, September, and then putting it in place between the other months. Louis, can you elaborate on that a little bit? I didn't exactly understand what like the how that's good or bad. And
On other streets, on your particular street, you can't park there anytime, even through June through September. You can't park there at all through those hours. On other streets, you can park there from June through September. You're allowed to park there.
And that's because of like schools, if some of the blocks adjacent to schools, correct, Louis?
Well, they all are. All those signs were designed because they were in close proximity to the school. And just so that I can clarify it, I checked with the chief. A fire truck is 8 feet wide. And then when you extend the outriggers on each side, it's another 3 feet on each side.
okay.
That's when you park the fire truck, is you put the outriggers on. Is that correct?
Say it again.
The outriggers are when you park the fire truck.
Right, it's parked, yes.
Right. I have no problem with Mr. Ramizade's idea because to park on one side of the street, because it's not like the street gets wider at after 3 o'clock. This is only from 9 to 3, so it wouldn't be so bad. So you can park on one side of the street, as he's asking. As I don't think there's a problem for students parking on the street, as there's much more parking for students on the school property now.
So that's the other thing I wanted to ask, if anybody could speak to exactly what's going on with the parking with the school and how many cars can park. If every student wanted to park, could they park? What's the percentage of parking per student ratio?
That's not for this board to consider, honestly.
No, I'm not saying that they should expand or take away from that. I'm just asking what happened.
It's not for us to consider at that point.
Okay. And then you had mentioned widening the driveway and that it may not be such a big cost, but in order to do the driveway, you also have to consider the finish of the driveway, whether you want to do an asphalt driveway or you want to do any kind of pavers. And we are planning to put pavers and to redo the walkway as well. And we don't want to have to add to that cost. We'd rather just do it all at once. So we're all also saving for that. We're not ready to.
So you want us to change the code because you want to put a nicer driveway and not expand the driveway?
No, I'm just simply replying to what you're saying regarding that. You know, we've given.
You could have a perfectly nice asphalt driveway and have enough parking without affecting the rest of your neighbors or village.
But it does come at a cost.
Okay, but you plan on doing pavers. If you did asphalt, you would certainly have enough money to do the double driveway. That's exactly my point.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again? So you're saying that if I did an asphalt driveway, I should have enough money to do a paver driveway?
No, I'm saying instead of doing a paver driveway, the cost of that would easily cover doing a double with asphalt driveway. And you'd probably have money left.
I agree with you. I'm not planning on changing my current driveway to a paver driveway. When I redo that and the walkway, and I also have a back area, I intend to try to get a wider parking as well. I'm not, but again, that's not something that I plan to do in the next few years. That's like a bigger project that I'm saving up towards.
Anybody else?
Just to refresh my memory, what was the original purpose of doing this? Because am I correct to assume that it was for a babysitter?
For babysitters, for service, for people who are coming to do service at the house and need to park, and for elderly parents and elderly family members, so they don't have to cross a street with no crosswalk when parking on Old Mill Road or other streets outside of Stony Run Road.
I tell you, I feel you have a legitimate request, but at the same time, a request that could be remedied without necessarily changing the code. I don't know what is going to happen if you change those, and I don't know if I agree with everything that I've heard. I agree with some, and I don't know if I agree with others. I mean, as far as the fire truck, I do agree with Steve Hope, who said that the road doesn't get wider after 3 o'clock. So we can't really discuss that. As far as the students and the safety and the cars being parked and the kids are playing or running or walking to school, and the cars driving, that could actually be dangerous when you have a narrower road. And I'm not sure if you have a sidewalk on that street or not. I forgot. Is there a sidewalk?
There's no sidewalk.
No.
Right. So
No sidewalk,
that
24
by
feet
itself.
wide.
So one of the things I think that concerns me, it's not really the fire trucks, because if the fire trucks can get there after 3 o'clock, they can get there before 3 o'clock. What worries me is that during the morning time, when the kids are going to school and coming back from school, if there are cars parked there, and I have seen it multiple times, that while the kid is walking, it may be between the two cars, then jumps in front of the car as they're coming out, they're running after each other, they're playing, and they may be hiding behind the car or be hidden behind the car. And when the car actually comes in, and unfortunately we have a lot of people that like to speed regardless of the street they're in, I think that what worries me. It worries me because that's the time that the kids are usually out. And that's the time that if you don't have clear sight of the street, you may, God forbid, get into an accident. So for me, that really is a sticking point. not necessarily the fire trucks. So you have to, I understand that you may have some financial burden at this time. You also need to realize that by expanding your driveway from 2 to, I believe, 4, if you expand it by one car width, you're going to significantly increase the value of your home as well. So that's my 2 cents. You know, for me, safety is always of the most importance. And I believe that if this move is going to decrease the safety, I would consider it. I would really try to consider very strongly that this should probably be even discussed with road engineers. But at this time, I don't know. That is my concern.
Okay. Do you want me to try to find a road engineer?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Are you asking me? Do you want me to find a road
No,
engineer?
I think this is something that we need to discuss. I am sure we can discuss it and see if that. I mean, but you have to. I always believe in common sense. I have kids, and I know the way they run around in the street. And I've seen other kids run around in the street, and then, you know, kids go behind the car, and then all of a sudden they're running after each other. One of them runs in the middle, and having cars parked in areas where there shouldn't be, because of that science behind it, you're putting the life of kids in danger. And I think for me, again, as a father, as a parent, as someone who has seen very close calls, that's what makes me a little bit, not a little bit, a lot of bit concerned about this move. As I originally said, I think it's really nice to have street parkings for people to be able to have guests and, you know, helpers and service people, nannies, babysitters. But we also have to be cognizant of the fact that these changes can put somebody's life in danger. So I don't know. At this moment, at least, I don't feel comfortable enough to vote for this to be passed. From what I'm hearing from my board, again, I haven't heard from everybody, but at least the 3 of the people, I understand where they stand. I myself am not comfortable with this move because of the danger it may impose on kids. So I would probably say, for now, I think best is for you to really try to expand your driveway, even if you're going to do not, you know, state-of-the-art driveway and pavers and all that.
We also have an oil tank that's prohibiting widening the driveway right now, but that's my problem.
But do you have the oil tank that is in use, an oil tank that needs to be removed?
It's in use.
It is in use.
What side of the driveway?
It's on the south side. So when you're pulling into the driveway, on the left. So if you expand the driveway, it would block the front of the house.
Right. You could expand the driveway a little bit to the right.
So I guess I would have to do that, or I would have to change to gas and then take out the oil tank and then do it the other way. This is the cost thing that, you know, I'm remembering now. You know, obviously this is it's an issue with the kids. So that, you know, that's fine. So I guess I'll have to go figure out what to do now with the driveway.
Is there a way that you can maybe even, I don't know if the code I mean, I'm sure the code allows it. I don't know if you want to have it. Even if you do an area on your on the side of your driveway that is even gravel, that doesn't, again, Steve, I need you to, Steve Haramis, to sort of opine on this. If he puts an area next to his driveway that is gravel, that does not require really addition of dry wells or anything like that. Is that something that could be considered? That is obviously extremely inexpensive. That is going to prepare him to in future do a pavers if he wishes. Is that something that could be done?
Yeah, that could be done.
And then
You see-
also, yeah, go ahead.
That's an inexpensive way of possibly trying to get this thing done. But again, I think that's something that the board has to agree. I don't know if it's going to look nice. I don't know if the neighbors are going to be okay, but I think we need to have this that's maybe something that you want to explore. Does
Yeah.
member of the board have any objection to that idea, or you guys are okay with it?
Putting a gravel parking area?
Either gravel or some pervious material that could be used temporarily until he starts doing some more major renovation of his driveway.
I mean, I think
There are other materials instead of gravel. I mean, I personally am not a huge fan of gravel, and I don't know if anyone else in that street has gravel, but there are other materials that could be used that are pervious, that are cheap to use, and it can help him out without changing the code and possibly imposing danger to kids that are walking.
What is pervious?
Pervious is a material that water goes through it.
Like stone.
There are certain stones that are pervious. The impervious is like
Blacktop.
cement. Right, cement is impervious, so the water doesn't go through, and because of that, you probably need a dry well. Again, I don't know if you have enough dry well or no dry. I have no idea what your house is like, but if you use pervious material for your dry well, for your driveway, then you may be able to get, with very inexpensively, you may be able to finish the job, so you have enough place to park two extra cars. I would definitely suggest that. You can run it by Steve Haramis, and he may send you to the architectural review board to take a look and see if that's acceptable to them, and I think that's the right path to go. This way, we don't have to necessarily change the code, and you can, provide for your elderly parents and possibly the babysitters and everybody else.
And then directly across the street from me is somebody with a circular driveway, but I saw how it would fit onto mine, and it seems like it might touch the street pole there or the fire hydrant. So I guess I'll talk to Steve and figure out, exactly the situation and what's the next step.
Right. I think the best step is to talk to Steve if you have enough room to expand and it's the cost that you think is going to be prohibitive. There are ways of doing it that is going to be very inexpensive. And, hopefully you get to, again, I asked Steve to make sure that this gets presented to the ARC, that it's not going to really be something that other people may interject or actually disagree with. But I think we can help everybody out this way. And if we don't have anybody else wanting to make a comment, I just leave that up to you to speak to Steve, and then this can come back either, I don't think it's going to come back to our board, but ARC is going to take care of the next step. Does everybody agree with that plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Annie, Steve?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, very good. All right, good luck to
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Can I just two things? One,
Yes.
I get in touch with Brian to get Steve's contact information and everything like that. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I
I'll
can.
call you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Nathaniel, you could call me or email me tomorrow. That's fine.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks, Brian. And then also, I just wanted to bring up again, somebody had mentioned, and I'd also noticed, if somebody could please take a look at both corners of Stony Run and Old Mill, the street lights there.
I already took a look at them. Number one, I can't really move the stop sign because there's other things.
No.
Block.
Okay.
No, he's talking about lights, Louis.
Okay, but I just wanted to clear this up too, because you made mention of it the last time.
Yeah.
Stops can't move because then it's going to be too far into the road and the trees will be blocking it on the corner on that side. The other tree on the other side, I have to get a survey and see if it's even a village tree.
Okay.
Okay, and no, he's talking about the light that is that doesn't reach the ground because of the branches. So I think we need to find out how we can trim those branches.
I'll
Or
take
make the lights brighter. I don't know exactly which is the issue. I think it might be a combination.
Okay, Louis, if you can take a look and let us know, please.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the lights. Yep.
All right, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Nathaniel.
Okay.
Next
Abraham.
the next item on the agenda is a sign
Thank you.
application for a property located at 639 Middle Neck Road. Currently, they have the picture. I'm just going to put it up. Currently, they have this sign up. I know this is not something that the board would like to see. Also, this unfortunately went up before they submitted any application or a sign permit. And now the applicant has come back with a few different designs for it. I believe the applicant is on the meeting tonight.
Mr. Patel, you could unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
Good evening, respected Board of Trustee and officers. My name is Shyam Patel. I'm here for 639 Middle Neck Road, which is convenience. I recently took over the store, and the sign you see, that's the name of the corporation. I've been in contact with Mr. Brian Rivera, and he asked me that the board is supporting the signs. Since I am new to the village, I did not know that I had to acquire a permit to change the sign. I really apologize for that, and I'm already spoke to Mr. Rivera for this, and he said just submit multiple signs, and like the board discussed, he also shared an email from the Board of Trustees that they want to remove the particular word smoke, and I've already removed it in the proposals. I have a few signs that I submitted with Mr. Rivera. Board also asked me to remove the owning completely and have the sign on the board, but my neighbor has the owning which comes out a little bit, and if I put that sign too close, I don't think people will see it. Since it will be blocking, it will be behind the one sign on the wall and the other one is coming out, and there will be a little more expensive as well. And changing the owning to the new modern style, that will also require for me to get the new owning and manufacture it. That will also cost me a little more, but it's been there from the beginning, so from the previous owner. So I would just like to change the fabric with the sign text. Logos, anything that board really want me to change it, I will definitely do that. I will definitely work with Mr. Rivera and the board to change the sign any way you guys want me to change the sign. But I just would like to keep the owning if you guys allow me to, please.
I'm going to put up the various models that, not very models, but various
Color.
right, cut off and the signs that they have, Mr. Patel has provided. I'm just going to go through it very slowly so the board can see.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
Yeah, it's like quite a few. So if any particular one that you want to see, or
I actually have already looked at these, and panels 4 and 5.
There's a bunch more, Bart, that are on here.
yeah, I'm just going to go down.
I looked at I looked at all of them on the agenda.
Ah, okay.
I went through all the PDFs, so it was PDF 4 and 5.
What is this one? The blue and yellow.
It's Blockbuster.
Which one is it?
Blockbuster.
Can't hear. Okay.
It reminds of certain store that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
This is the one I believe that Deputy Mayor is referring to.
Right. The
I
style.
like these. I like the green and red.
It's also in. They also have in blues and black. In the same style.
Orange.
No, but
I like the design on this one. The black is
Yeah.
also.
I like the design much better. If you just got rid of the address and the phone number on the top, I'd be very happy with the sign.
Okay, so you want me to take out the address and the phone number?
Well, I'm just one member of the
The
board.
address you need to have. But-
No, you could have you could just have the number. You don't need the address. But
Right. I mean, 629. That's really everybody knows that's Middle Neck Road.
right. So,
Um,
but if you
I agree with Deputy Mayor. I think the black, the blue. Could you go back up again? The red, orange. I'm not a huge fan of, but I don't know.
It's a maroon color.
there's also a light blue. I think, being colorblind, at the bottom of panel 5. Could you go back to PDF 5?
No.
Is that blue at the bottom?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
light blue.
Yeah.
Not bad for a colorblind, Bart.
Thank you so much.
But I would say, you know what, the black is probably a, I don't know. Listen, I like the black, I like the dark blue, and I like the red.
How about you, Mr. Patel? Do you prefer one of those?
I mean, I am totally, whatever you guys definitely suggest or you guys come to agreement with, I am willing to change any sign, but just let me know, guys, because I'm new to the town. I just want to follow the rules and regulations completely.
Right. It seems like you really like the color red. Mr.
Oh, me?
Patel. Yeah.
Me? I like red. Red is a very auspicious color in Hindu religion, yes.
Mhm.
The only thing I would ask, Mr. Patel.
Yes.
This one?
Yeah.
When you first,
it.
First of all, congratulations on your opening. So
Thank you.
When you first opened, you had a interior light on this sign that was extremely bright.
Yeah, we turned it off because it was there and the previous owner was not turning on, so I don't know. I just turned on and I'm keeping it off from now on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if any other members of the board. I like the black. It pops a lot. I like the light blue. But anything that you guys like, chime in.
Blues.
I like the red. I think the red looks fine. It's like a burgundy, like a darker red. I like that.
Yeah, I like the red also. Anyway, listen, I think the burgundy is nice. It's not a light red. I think it's a nice red. It's a burgundy red. If it's going to come out the same color, obviously. I think the color you have now is a very bright red. This is a richer red, and I think I really like this red as well. Annie, you have your part of, yeah, I don't like that color red. Annie, you're part of ARC, so we're going to pick your brain. Which color do you like?
The maroon one is nice, and if Mr. Patel feels that this will bring him good luck, then we wish him lots of luck.
Thank you very much, dear. Thank you very much, Ms. Mendes.
Okay. So I guess we're going based on what Mr. Patel wants. Also, I think the design is nice. As Deputy Mayor mentioned, you just have to remove the telephone number and the one that says, 639 Middle Neck Road. Just remove the Middle Neck Road.
So I can just keep 639 only.
No, Mr. Patel, if you want balance, if you would like some balance, you could just put 639 in the top corner, that same size on both corners.
Oh, 639 in both corner? Okay.
Yeah, just 639. Everybody will know that's the address.
Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody wants your phone number, I'm sure they could find it.
Right, it's either that or you can put it on top, on the center of twigs, right on top of twigs. You can put it there also, but
No,
Uh,
I think the
I think on
balance.
each side, you're right, I agree. It's gonna
Okay,
be less.
so,
So
phone number, so the phone number, remove the phone number, put 639 in the both the right and left corner.
Yeah,
Just sort of one suggestion, can I just put a New York Lottery, a logo? Or is
No.
this possible? No? Okay, no problem. All right,
you
thank
have it in the window and everybody knows you have it, so.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so very good. Good luck.
Okay,
We have a vote. We
Does
just need-
everybody agree with the logo, the design, except what was mentioned about removing the telephone number and putting the address, just the number on each side, and the color maroon?
Good with me.
Yep, good.
Okay, so
Peter?
it's unanimous. Mr. Patel, good luck.
Quick, about the ones on the side, the phone number on the side.
Yeah, he said he's going to remove that.
Oh, it's on the sides of the sign.
Oh, the side, yes.
Yeah, I'll take that off.
With the one more time, I would just like to, if you can share that picture one more time there, sir, please.
Yeah, I gotta move that.
Yeah, just the phone number. Okay, I will remove the phone number. Okay.
Yes,
from the
please.
side, yeah.
Also, Mr. Patel, on the side of the sign as well.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sir.
On the side of the sign.
Yeah,
Does it remove everything completely or just the phone number?
Just the phone number on the side of the sign. Is that okay with everybody?
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Peter? Peter, do we need to vote on this?
Yes, I'm here.
I think we just did.
Yeah, we just did.
The application for the sign has been granted conditional upon the color and the removal of the phone number from the entirety of the sign and the address with the number only on the upper left and upper right-hand corners of the front. Is that correct, members of the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any objection or abstention? Hearing none, that approval is unanimous.
The next item is under the new business is a request for a car parade on Tuesday, December 15th. That's in the middle of the Hanukkah holiday by Chabad of Great Neck. They have the route that I'm going to put up in just a moment. Part of the route passes through the village, and they are requesting if the board can approve the route. Basically, what's going to be on the route is on the second line, you'll see here after they leave East Shore Road and they enter Station Road. Part of the Station Road is in the village. They will continue under the town. Then when they turn on a Cambridge and they turn on a Baker Hill, continue on a Middle Neck Road, all the way through Steamboat Road till they reach Kings Point Road. That's the part that they will run through the village. And they will come down from Bayview and they enter the village again on Old Mill Road, making a right on a Middle Neck Road and continuing all the way through Lake Success. So that's basically the synopsis of the route. And they're requesting if the board can consider approving the route. This starts at 4:30 and should end by 6 o'clock.
$4:30 till 6.
Okay, start 4:30 at 400 East Shore Road, and it should end by 6 o'clock in Lake Success. So probably they will be within the village about an hour.
Is it the first time they're doing it? It's been doing it every year.
First time.
First time I see it on the agenda.
I've seen they're doing it with fire department has done that in the past. I don't think it's a big issue.
no problem with it.
Is the applicant, I believe before he was on the meeting, is the applicant on the meeting? Okay, I guess he left, but I can always reach out to him if the board has any questions.
Okay with me.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yes.
And any discussion on that? Is there any objection or abstention? Hearing none?
Well, I was.
All those in favor?
Wait, Peter?
I
Yes.
just, that the path should be listed somewhere, in a public space so that people who may not want to be part of it could avoid those streets, at that time.
If the board wishes, we can publish it on the section of the village stating that the board approved such a route and approximate time. And if somebody wishes to stay away from the parade, they can stay away.
Right.
You do have some people that are looking for public comment.
The question was
That's up to the board.
if this is going to be during the rush hour. It's on a Sunday. We usually don't have rush hours
No.
on a Sunday.
No rush hours on Sunday.
No, it's on Mayor.
Tuesday.
Mayor, they're requesting it to move it to Tuesday, which is 2 weeks from tonight. Mayor, we can't hear you.
There's really no rush hours in Great Neck. I've never seen rush hour. There may be a little gridlock around certain times because of construction, but I don't think there's really any rush hours at all.
And there are not going to be thousands of cars in the parade.
No.
Is there a limit on the number of the cars that you require? I can convey that to them.
No. It'll be gone very quickly. Moving on.
Okay, Peter?
I think the motion had been moved and seconded, and is there any objection or abstention? Hearing none, unanimously approved. And the date, is that going to be Tuesday? Which date? Tuesday,
December
Tuesday,
15th.
December 15th.
December?
15th, 2 weeks from tonight.
Very good. Okay. That, I think, brings us to the next item, being 523, 531 Middle Neck Road.
I think we skipped 136 Maple Street.
Skip one. 136, right.
All right. I'm sorry. I lost the last part of it. What happened at the end? Because I don't know what happened. I got kicked off of the Zoom.
Well, not having objected or abstained, I thought the motion unanimously carried to approve the parade permit.
I didn't know what the public comments, if there were public comments or not.
There
There
was,
was an inquiry about it being
Yeah.
rush hour. Initially, it was believed to be a Sunday parade, but then it was clarified that it is a Tuesday parade.
Ah, okay.
And there are people who have texted in that they wish to make public comment.
Okay. All right.
Does the
I
board
missed that
entertain
part.
public comment.
I mean, if the board voted already, that's fine. We can get the public.
Oh, actually, I think I'd rather hear from the public if we can dial it back a little bit. I know it's not conventional.
If the board wishes to entertain public comment, then Brian or Abe, can you let in anyone who wishes to speak, or?
If anybody wants to make any public comment, please unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hi,
Hey.
Nina. Nina Gordon, 200 South Middle Neck Road.
Thank you.
I'm directly in the parade route, and I do travel Middle Neck Road in the afternoon, and I can tell you unequivocally there is a rush hour. There is a very busy road from about 3 in the afternoon till 7 in the afternoon, as is East Shore Road. So I question the wisdom of a Tuesday. I think, you know, when you first mentioned it, I thought it was Sunday also, but I think Tuesday is going to create a lot of problems for people that use these busy roads. And that's my comment.
Well, it depends how many cars are in the parade. I mean, we don't know how many cars in the parade. We can find out how many cars are. If it's like 5, 6 cars, it makes hardly any difference at all. If you're talking about 70, 80 cars, yeah, I can understand. But we don't know how many cars there are. And I don't believe it's more than 10 cars.
A parade is a parade, and
Yeah, but if
know,
you ever seen
it's
one of
not.
those parades, it's just to show off the menorah. It's not really a parade of cars going and honking the horns and stuff like that. It's really just showing off the menorah, and it's really not more. What I've seen in Queens and in Brooklyn, it was never more than 7, 8 cars.
Okay, now, you know, I'm envisioning a parade.
No, it's not a parade. It's just it's a Chabad thing they do everywhere, and it's something that I've seen in the past, and it's not massive at all. It's a car, and sometimes there's music on it, sometimes it doesn't, but it's not massive. And we can find out also with Chabad if how many cars they're planning to have.
That would be my question. And also, you know, is this parade route passing by the train station? That's a busy consideration. You've got buses. You've got
The village
taxis.
ends. The village ends.
I saw
way
Cutter
north
Mill
of-
Road. I know, but I mean, you know, this is just something, I guess, to discuss with Chabad. It's yes, your village boundary ends at a certain point, but this is going to create traffic all the way to Lake Success. That's my concern. Okay, I'm done. If somebody else wants to speak.
We have
Yeah,
lost connection with the mayor. We just, if he's not listening,
No,
he's not there. So
No, the
don't
mayor,
move forward
I just
till-
got back. I don't know why everybody kept getting muted. So I think the answer to many questions, we are just saying if it's okay in our village. Obviously, what they're trying to do and they're going to pass other villages, that's the permission they should get from other villages. It starts from Kings Point because that's where we're located. It goes through our village and goes through a few other villages as well. As far as it causing traffic, I don't think few cars is going to be significantly causing much traffic, but I understand the concern. And I think Mr. Kashi explained that this is going to be few cars. I think we can find out from them. And if it's going to Lake Success, obviously the mayor in Lake Success and the board they have to opine on how this is going to affect them. I can't.
It goes through all the villages on the way to Lake Success.
Right, I'm just saying, whatever happens,
Yeah.
It's what they need to ask, and I don't know if there are other parades like that did not even come to us for a permit. There's just it's a car parade. They can get in the car and they can start driving. Okay.
Anybody else?
David, did you want to speak, David?
Well, David Slenzinger, 15 Beach Road. The points have been made. I am very concerned, though, should there be a fire, at East Shore Road, Middle Neck Road, Old Mill Road, 3 to 6 p.m. These are all very busy hours for traffic. And we really need to determine how many cars they intend to have. If there are a few, it should probably be okay. But if there's, 50 or 60, you are faced with a disaster. So you need more information.
Yeah, we said that we'll ask for information, and I'm pretty sure it's not more than 10 cars max.
Okay. Next item.
The next item on the agenda is a request by resident at 136 Maple Street to have the jacuzzi relocated from an approved location. In a moment, I'm putting up the map. This is the original site plan for the applicant. Originally, the jacuzzi was supposed to be on this side, and they are requesting that this should be the relocation of it should be approved to be on the south side of the street. Let me just, Steve, would you like to explain what they're requesting?
So as you had mentioned, the pool was supposed to, the jacuzzi was supposed to be at one end of the pool. And for whatever reasons, it was not put there. They decided to move it to the side. It was, I guess it was better for the homeowner to have the jacuzzi on the side. It was more useful. Not knowing that it was going to encroach about 4 feet into the setback. So we do require a 20-foot setback. And that's why we are presenting it to the mayor and board tonight, because it needs the approval of them. And I know in the past we have approved some things that are closer than this. I don't see it to be detrimental to anybody. There's plenty of room between the next door neighbor and the resident. Is the resident on, Abraham?
Yes, I'm here, Stephen.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Anything you want to add to that, Joe, as to?
No, as you said, the original plan was to have it in the middle, but once we saw that it would be more beneficial for us to make that area a kiddie pool for our kids, we decided to move that to the side and use that area as a kiddie pool for our kids. Not knowing that that's a problem regarding zone-wise, the setback, side yard.
You knew that Mr. Rahmani, you submitted plans for the jacuzzi in the center of the pool. And then you had your contractor build it differently. I guess that's the disconnect I have here.
Yeah, I didn't know I had to come to the board to do such a thing. Like I said, we just thought it's more beneficial for us and we moved it to the side.
You didn't have to come, well, you would only have to come to the board if you encroached on the side yard setback. But that's not the issue. Here is that what you built was not in compliance with the plans that you filed. That's the issue. If you had changed the plan and submitted it, okay, then it would have come to your attention and it comes to the board, but at least you would have submitted plans and we would have known what you were building.
Right.
So you can't just say you're building one thing and then build another thing, is what happened here.
I wasn't aware of that.
Are there neighbors here?
Are there, I mean, I know that we did change the code that this is going to be not according to the code. It has to come to the Board of Trustees. If it did meet, I think we changed the code that they don't need to come to the Board of Trustees. At this time that it doesn't, the question to the board and I think to the attorney is if there is within the power of this board or it has to go to BZA.
Mayor, the board has the power to approve the accessory structure of the pool and its accessory, the spa, at the presented location. The requirements are that it be 20 feet away from the side yard, but in the same section of the code, the board is empowered to waive any of the requirements, including the 20-foot side yard requirement. The applicant could get similar relief from the Board of Zoning Appeals or from this Board of Trustees. It's up to this board. The caution, of course, is that in approving structures after they've been built, there's some argument that you are creating an incentive for people to build first and ask permission later. The contrary point, of course, is that a project that this board might well have approved had it been asked in advance, what is the point of ordering a homeowner to tear it down once it's been built? So there are competing policy considerations as to how you wish to handle this.
Okay.
That's something we'll have to discuss.
All right, I think this is something that we would need to discuss with the advice of counsel. Maybe not at this time. Was there another, instead of coming back each time, Steve Haramis, was there another issue that might come back before us on this property?
At this point, I don't know. I would have to really review the file and see. When it regards to the pool, I don't see anything else with the pool.
Okay.
So you want to just, again, I don't know what the ramification of tabling this over and over again, but I think, Steve, what I'm asking you to do is to really go over this and find out exactly what the issue is and how this came about. And I really want to have some kind of a remedy or an answer by the next meeting. You know, if there are any other things, because I know we met last time, I just want to make sure that there's nothing that we have to discuss again. So if you can please look into this and let us know by the next meeting, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of the whole thing and see how we can resolve the issue.
Okay.
All right.
Mayor, point out to the homeowner that, and I'm not recommending that this be done since he has now presented himself to this board, but theoretically, a violation of the code in this manner does subject the homeowner to a $1,000 per day fine should the village have issued a ticket to that effect. So that is also in the code. Understood, Mayor. At this point, however, you're looking for the building department to come back with a report that outlines the timeline and events that came about to produce this result. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Very good, sir.
Okay.
All right.
So the board is tabling this at this moment, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So moving to the next item is the project at 523, 531 Mill Neck Road regarding the parking spot relocation, as well as a discussion regarding the traffic improvement on a parking lot number 4, the municipal parking lot number 4. So I'm going to put up the improvements that has been suggested by the fire department. This is the Great Neck Alert Fire Company comments that they came back with. This is the site of the project at 523, 531 Mill Neck Road. And they are suggesting that the board consider removing these 2 parking spots from the back of the property to allow fire apparatus have a better access to the rear of the building. They're not saying it's required, but rather they are just commenting that it would be something that might make it easier for the cars to get back there, to the fire apparatus to get to the back of the building.
So, Ibrahim, let me just be clear. So this is not an absolute necessity for them to approve this project. It's just a requirement for an ease or an easier access, but it's not absolute requirement from the alert.
My understanding is it's not a requirement, is a suggestion that in order for the fire apparatus to get to the back of the property with ease, they are suggesting that the village removes these 2 parking spots.
Okay.
Mayor Barral,
Who's that?
Mayor, let me just make a comment as well. Let me just make a comment as well. Is you gotta, even removing those 2 spots, he's still adding spots that are not there underneath his building. Just so that you understand that, yeah, you're losing 2 spots in the middle of the lot, but I think if I remember correctly, the plan had like 7 spots underneath the building that are not there.
That's for their residents.
Right, but what I'm saying is the residents otherwise would have parked out in the parking lot. So even still, you're still picking up 5 spots, even by giving away these 2 spots. I don't see an issue with taking away the 2 spots. And eventually, when this building gets completed, we probably should mill the whole lot and put new asphalt in there anyway. That's on the proposed projects down the road. And then when you do that, you'd be restriping the lot and reconfiguring all the parking stalls to make the whole lot, not just that, the whole lot on both sides more efficient.
Right. So just to be clear, this is for the reason I'm asking is for legal issues further down in further down a few years from now. What will happen? What could be? I just want to know if it's enough to just say we're removing 2 parking spots. Is that sufficient, or is it something that needs to be legally bound? That these 2 parking spots will never be used ever again for any other purposes or any other reason that the village can. That's the reason I asked. I know that based on the proposal that he has given, and I don't know if it's on the plans that you have, that by just repurposing and redoing some of the parking stalls, we are going to gain these 2 back. I don't have an issue with just these 2. I'm just saying in general, based on the discussion, if it's something that needs to be legally bound, or if it's a requirement that the fire department is asking, and if something happens later on, it's not going to put this applicant in a jeopardy. That was the reason I asked.
Mayor Brawl, this is Stephen Quell, representing 523, 531 Middle Neck Road. Could I answer your questions in regards to the requirement? Yeah. Yes, this is an absolute requirement by the fire chief.
So that's the difference. Okay.
This is not a suggestion. It's an absolute requirement. Okay.
That's what I was impression. Okay, good enough. Thank you.
And if you like, I'm happy to present our proposal tonight along with the FDC that they are requiring as well.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Mayor Brawl, Deputy Mayor, and trustees and friends. My name is Stephen Quo, representing Silver Lake Realty Group, owner of 523, 531 Middle Neck Road. It's obviously very good seeing everyone again, and hope you and your families are all doing well and remain safe during this difficult time. Tonight, I have with me on Zoom Bob Wellner from Jobco, which is our GC, and also Rich Pavone, our fire consultant. As part of our fire marshal site plan review, and after meeting with the Great Neck Alert Fire Chief, 2 comments requirements were given in order to receive their approval on our new building. First, and if you don't mind, Brian, start putting up the slide of the comments from the fire chief that you showed earlier. First, the parking space is directly behind our building, as shown in slide 1, denoted as site plan C-2 on the right corner. Bottom corner shows the 2 spaces that the fire department commented and requires that these spots be removed. I understand the importance of parking in the village, and removing of any parking spaces may be challenging and certainly not my desire. Therefore, we are presenting a proposal tonight and asking for approval that would relocate those 2 spots to a different location in the parking lot. Therefore, no spaces would be lost. Brian, if you could go to the next slide. On the second slide, you see a Google Map visual of the southeast end of the parking lot. In the red bubble area to the east, next to Margot Place, you will see currently 4 spots with diagonal striping to the north and south of it. The diagonal striping next to Margot Place is currently utilized as an access path into the parking lot. Next to 21 dressings, you will see a second red bubble area with a triangle-shaped diagonal striping. We propose restriping these two areas depicted with our red bubbles, and as we believe the current configuration is insufficient and wastes valuable parking real estate. Brian, if you could go to the next slide. In the third slide, denoted as SK-01, is an illustration of our proposed reconfiguration. We would reduce the size of the curb angle point end striping to the north and the access path from Margot Place entrance to the south to introduce one additional parking space from the current 4 spots to 5 spots. All the other spots would remain as is. If you could go to the next slide, Brian, please. In slide 4, you would see denoted as SK-02 is an illustration of our proposed reconfiguration of the second red bubble area next to 21 dressings that I showed you earlier. Here we would introduce one additional parking space from the current 4 spots to 5 spots by reducing and restriping the current triangular shaped striping. All current spots, including the 2 handicap spots, would remain as is. This proposal would meet the fire department's requirements and also meet the need of the village to not lose those 2 valuable spaces. Thank you, and I welcome any questions that the board may have.
Mr. Mayor, may I? This is Peter B., village attorney. Mr. Cole, the concern the mayor, I think, was mentioning before was whether or not a simple resolution authorizing a restriping of the lot will serve your purpose and that you will not need to come back to the board a second time. Specifically, a directive to restripe a lot theoretically could be changed 2 weeks later. And I don't think the board is anxious to put you in a position where you have received what is essentially only temporary victory. It may be that no one ever changes the striping again and you are permanently allowed that access. But it also could be that a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, another board chooses to restripe that lot. And without you having a permanent easement or something to that effect, we're just not sure whether the fire department would accept the restriping as adequate. If you're telling me that the fire department has indicated mere restriping is sufficient, then I think that ends the concern of the board. But I just point out to you that it would be counterproductive to get a restriping and then discover the fire department doesn't accept that as sufficient, since it is impermanent.
Peter, may I just mention, I just thought about something. I don't think, again, I may be wrong, that any other board would be able to go ahead and stripe an area that would put a building in danger and is against the fire code, because that could be considered, that striping those 2 spots by the next board or the following can actually be a fire hazard and would be prohibited by the fire department. Am I right to take that into consideration?
I think you absolutely are, Mayor, and I think it would be very imprudent for any subsequent board to order a further restriping of the lot. But I don't think they would be legally prevented. I think it would simply be extremely imprudent. So I'm not suggesting that there's a high risk that there would be a change of heart and a further restriping, but I just wanted to be sure that the fire department will take restriping as adequate. As long as the fire department would be satisfied with a restriping directive, then I think this board's concern could end.
Right. And I don't believe, again,
I don't think that the fire department is worried about restriping. They just want the 2 spots done.
Correct. Lou is absolutely.
And again, I don't think that any village would be able to go against the will of a fire department. I don't think anyone's stupid enough to do that, but I don't think they can legally, or are they? Meaning, like, if I wanted to do something that the fire department told me not to do because it would put people in danger, am I able, as a government or board of trustees, to enact a law or change the striping or add a striping that would put somebody in danger. I don't think I can. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think the
Well,
fire,
so that
fire department is making a recommendation, well, a requirement to remove those two spots. because
No.
you can't get into the building. So
Listen,
it's
that
two different.
question was directed to Peter. As a legal matter, can a board of trustee do anything? I'm not even saying about enacting a law, but making any changes to the lot presentation if it is going to cause or if it's going to be a fire hazard.
And my best answer to you, Mayor, is that would be potentially a litigated matter if you are not giving the applicant an easement, but merely directing a restriping of the parking lot, or actually the giving up of those two spaces. Then you have not been restricted in your ability to use that parking lot. If you went to do something that would create a fire hazard, it could be that the residents or owner of that building could institute an action in court and seek an injunction to prevent you from doing so. But on the face of it, you're not restricted in the use of your property absent an easement. So I think it is a matter that would wind up in court if a board were imprudent and wished to use that parking lot in a way that placed that building in jeopardy.
Right. Okay.
Again, I think for now, if the applicant, the fire department is satisfied, I think the board's concern could be satisfied.
I think they are, and I think we are.
Right. I mean, just to add to Lou and also Peter is that the fire department just needs and requires those two spots to be removed. Our proposal is just considering, the village's viewpoint of losing two spots may be a valuable, necessity for that parking lot. So we were proposing that we would restripe it so that you wouldn't lose any parking spaces. This has nothing to do with the fire department. This is just us wanting to make sure the village doesn't lose those two spots because it is a requirement from the fire department.
Thank you, sir. I would add that should the board wish to approve this, I think the resolution would indicate that this is being done not to advantage the owner of the property, but for purposes of fire safety for that area of the village. Obviously, a fire in that building would present a hazard not just to the one building, but to surrounding properties. So the board could give its approval in the public interest for fire safety for that area.
Absolutely, that's correct.
I just want to point out one thing, that, and thank you, Mr. Quo, and I appreciate the offer, but just realize that restriping the lot isn't a gift of spots to us, but that's our spots anyway. If we were eventually to remill and restripe this lot, we would probably be doing that anyway, getting those additional spots for efficiency. So.
Understood.
That was my point, Bart, that at some point when this building is completed, there probably won't be any other buildings or any other movement in that area. And we're probably much more than likely than not going to repave that lot when that building is done, meaning milling it, filling it, whatever we have to do to it. And at that point, then you'd probably be best off to hire an engineer to lay out the lot the most efficient way. Right now, we don't even know if that's the most efficient way. That's just the way it's been since the 70s. So later on, when we do repave the lot, which is going to happen, then we can get the most efficient parking spaces in the whole lot, not just behind the building, but on the two sides as well.
I think there was some kind of a plan being sought after to actually significantly increase the number of parking spots in that lot. But I think for now, today's meeting for these two lots for these two spots to be sort of paint over, not to park cars, I think it's probably not a bad idea. I think if you're ready to vote for this because I think what I want for Louis to discuss is the flow in the parking lot during the construction as well. So, and probably even after. So does any of the member of the board has a question about these two spots? Are we all okay with it? Peter, if you can just, if we need to pass a resolution.
Can I just ask one question?
Yes, there is.
Size of the spots the same than ones that you're proposing?
Yes, they are.
Mayor, do you wish a motion just to abandon those two spots or to also restripe pursuant to the applicant's proposal?
Both.
All right. Is there a motion then to accept the proposal of the applicant for the restriping of the lot in a way that prohibits parking for two spots as proposed on the applicant's sketch chart, and doing so for the purpose of the public safety and fire prevention in that area of the village?
I do.
Is there a trustee moving that item?
Stephen.
Moved by trustee Hope and seconded by?
Annie.
Seconded by trustee Mendelson. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, unanimously passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the next item is the FTC. So if you'd like me to start on that.
I guess, go ahead.
I was under the impression that is that a sidewalk opening?
Yes. If Brian could just put up slide, I think it was 5, the 5th slide. This is also a requirement.
Mayor,
I'm sorry.
I'm not aware that this was a agenda item. Mr. Massaro, is this is a sidewalk opening a Board of Trustee matter or simply an application to your department?
No, this was also a requirement from the fire department to put this remote connection in.
Happy to elaborate if you guys would like. It is on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
Basically, the next proposal is the installation of a remote FTC. As denoted in SK03 is an illustration of the remote FTC that the fire department requires. For those who are not familiar with what an FTC looks like, we included a picture of it on the lower left-hand corner. The remote FTC is required to be within 100 feet of a fire hydrant. We propose locating this remote FTC at the current no parking zone just south of the north entrance into the parking lot on Middle Neck Road. This way, no parking spaces would be affected or have to be removed on Middle Neck Road. A dry line 4-inch pipe would then be run from the FTC to our new building as shown in the red line and be placed underneath the red brick sidewalk. The work would be completed within 2 days at our cost with minimal disruption. The sidewalk would not have to be closed. Thank you, and I welcome any questions that the board may have.
Is that fixture going to be in the street?
I'm sorry?
Is that FTC going to be in the roadway?
No. It's just like a fire hydrant. It has to be on the sidewalk. It's basically similar to a fire hydrant.
I think it's just a different.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a different color.
Okay, but the location is in the existing no parking zone in that area.
Correct.
And then the pipe goes under the sidewalk to the remote location.
Correct.
And is there another FTC at the remote location?
No, it basically, if you see the red dot right at the existing no parking zone, that would be where the FTC would be placed.
I
And then
get that.
if you see the line that goes directly and then makes a 90-degree turn into our building, it would go into our building from there.
Okay.
So the idea,
Steve,
Yep.
this is for the sprinkler system, correct?
that's a separate system. That's always fully charged. This is a dry system. Okay, so
The truck hooks up to this
correct.
as if it was a fire extinguisher, but then what is it acts as a sprinkler system for the building once the truck is hooked to it?
No. So the sprinkler system basically is before the fire department arrives, obviously, to put out the fire before they even arrive. Once the fire department arrives, they would hook up their pumper truck to that fire hydrant, the existing fire hydrant that you see north of that north entrance. Okay, the second dot that says existing fire hydrant. Basically the requirement for a remote connection has to be within 100 feet of that, so that the fire truck can connect one hose to that existing fire hydrant and the other hose to the FDC. And then they would pump water through that dry 4-inch line that we would install into our building. And then they would be able to connect on each floor to standpipes that they can connect hoses and do firefighting procedures.
So like the ones that you see in the stairwells in apartment.
That's right.
I get it. Okay.
Why wouldn't it be wet into your building?
Because of the weather, winter, it would freeze. I mean, that's a standard. I'm not an expert on that, but that's the way it's designed, the remote FTC.
Okay.
And I do have, like I said earlier, I do have our fire consultant, which is a former firefighter as well, and does a lot of these and has been consulting us through this process. If you have any questions.
I got an education tonight.
Believe me, I have too.
So I'm happy. I like learning new things.
Great. So again, in closing, I mean, we're humbly requesting the board's approval on this as well, so that we can continue with our approval process with the fire marshal. As you know, this 1 year has been difficult for everybody. It's been extremely difficult for us through COVID and having this 1 year setback. And I couldn't even believe that it was this month last year that I got approval from, this generous board. And 1 year later, we still haven't even started construction yet. So you can't imagine the financial costs due to COVID and everything else that has been extremely financially difficult for us. So I'm hoping that we can, get approval on this as well and just kind of move forward.
But the only thing,
Ms. Coe, is the motion.
Yeah, I'll move the placement of the FTC.
One comment, Steve. I know that this possibly will cause some interference with the neighbor, which obviously is accepted and understood. I just wanted to know if you can obviously choose the day that it will cause the least amount of interference with their business. I know that most people actually enter from the back entrance, so it may not actually be as bad as many people may think it will be. But if this can be done, and I'm sure if it can be done during the weekend, where the store is closed, I think that would definitely benefit. We just need to make sure that the proper precautions are taken.
Absolutely, Mayor. We can certainly accommodate that and do it on whichever day the store is closed and with the least disruption.
How much of the sidewalk is? I just have a quick question. I don't. Did Everfresh redo their sidewalk and pavers?
Yes,
they did.
So you'd have to pull up the pavers and reset them and everything?
Correct. But again, remember, this is only a 4-inch line. I mean, it's 4-inch wide, so it's not.
No, I understand that. I don't know how much of the sidewalk you have to pull up even to put down a 4-inch line.
It's not very wide that we have to pull up.
you need to make sure, I mean, I'm sure I know that, that it has to be the same color. You cannot have a different color, and if it changes slightly.
Oh, man, they replace it with the same bricks that are right there.
Correct.
So they can take it down, they can take them off without,
You
I mean,
pop the brick. You just
Correct.
pop those bricks and trench, put those
Okay.
bricks.
As long as it can be done, that would be the best, obviously. Okay, great.
And I agree, if you could do it on a Saturday, because I don't think that Everfresh is open on Saturdays. So maybe they could do it on a Saturday.
Right.
We have no issues with that. We'd be happy to accommodate that.
Okay.
So, Mr. Cole, my understanding is the motion you're seeking from the board is a motion to authorize the placement of the FTC in the location you've described, subject to your usual and customary requirements of a sidewalk opening, which would go through Mr. Massaro's department.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a trustee who wishes to make that motion
I'll
in
move
the
it.
interest of public safety and fire prevention in that? Moved by the deputy mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Hope. Any further discussion on that motion? Any objection?
I have a question.
Any abstention? I could not hear that remark again. No remarks. I believe then that the motion carries unanimously.
All right.
Well, thank
Let's
you.
see
everyone.
if-
Thank you for approving.
Hope
our
we can get this done before the winter.
Okay. Wishing everyone a very happy holiday season and a happy new year, and I'm sure I'll see everyone around. Thank you so much.
Steve, before you bounce out, I just wanted to speak to the mayor about the traffic patterns in the parking lot that exist.
Sure.
So, if you don't mind just hanging out.
No,
for a minute.
absolutely.
And if the mayor doesn't mind speaking about it. Mayor?
Sure, you want me to start talking about it first?
Well,
that's fine.
We had discussed a few things. I sent my notes one day, the other night on it, about changing the way that you're coming into the parking, at least on a temporary basis while the construction is on.
Right. Hello?
Yeah.
So I think one of the issues with not only any construction is that what it's going to do to the traffic, especially in this case to the traffic in the parking lot. We do have two entrances to this parking lot, one on the southbound, one on the north, one on the south, one on the north. The one on the south obviously is much wider, and most cars enter and exit through that route. The one on the north is narrower, and is now currently there is no entrance from southbound on Middle Neck Road, and there's only entrance from northbound by making a left into the parking lot. The proposal that I'm making to make sure that this parking lot and driving in it is safer is to have the northern part should only be exit only, and exit toward the north, going northbound. The south side can be entrance and exit as long as the cars that enter do not enter the parking lot, do not enter the north section of the parking lot. There is a bottlenecking of the parking lot, especially now during the construction, that makes it very difficult for two cars to pass at the same time, one going north, one going north, the other going south. I believe that it's the best way is for the cars to just travel north, and the moment they go behind Everfresh, they can only exit through the north exit and not come back to the south. This way we can have a uniform and one-way traffic only, and I believe it's going to significantly reduce the possibility of having accidents. I see that you have this up now. Obviously, this is before the barricades were put on. As you see, right in that area, Abraham, I don't know if you can show it. I don't have control, but
What would you like me to show, Mr. Mack?
see where it narrows down on between the north and the south. Oh. Okay, I don't know if I see it anymore. Okay, right there. I think that's the area that right now, even before the construction began, could be very dangerous as the cars traveling north, and then some cars are trying to exit south. We need to make sure that that's a way just going north, and the cars that enter to that section to just exit from the north exit and travel northwise, northbound, and then if they need to go south, they have to go on Fairview or something else. As far as the trucks go, the trucks that come in for deliveries, I think they should do the same thing. I don't think the trucks should go that south on this road because it's way too narrow at this time. Louis?
Well, it's always been, that's first of all, it's only in part of for the construction. It has always been a narrow, but I had written up a little thing the other day about not letting the cars coming heading south, not to turn into the parking lot, and behind the store, right behind where the barricades, he's going to pull the barricades a little bit wider. Those two spots that we spoke about earlier, start on a diagonal angle from there, and right in that corner, putting a do not enter sign so that the cars can't, once they're in the north side of the lot, they have to go north. They have to leave north. They're not going to come back out to go south to the south lot. You understand?
Right.
Is this during construction or permanent?
Well, for now, it's during construction, but it's something to be considered after the building. Once again, once the building is all completed and all the construction is done, then we can take a much better look at the lot as well as, you know, the striping and the flow of traffic and the whole deal.
Very good.
Right. So you have to also realize right now, you see where the cars are in the middle of the lot on the north section. Yeah, those cars. You see, right before you were able to actually exit from the I would say west of those cars, you were able to go down from west of those cars. Right now, that whole area on the bottom is closed. So there's no cars can go this way. So all the cars have to go from the east side of those cars, and then the cars coming in and leaving and pulling out. And that creates a mayhem in that area. So I think for now, at least temporarily, we need to make these changes. What happens after the construction, hopefully not in a very far future, we can look at this again and maybe reconfigure the parking lot, and maybe come up with a better way of parking so we gain more spots and also a better flow of traffic.
Mr. Mayor, we have Howard from Everfresh who would like to make a comment.
Yes.
Hi, good evening. Do you hear me?
Yes, Howard, how are you?
Go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So I understand what you're saying is if you're coming in from the south side, that you would not allow cars to proceed further to the north, that they would be parking, let's say, in that south area?
No,
correct? That you wouldn't let them?
No. We're saying that when they enter could you put that map back on again? So when they enter to the north from the south entrance, they enter to the lot behind Everfresh. They can only exit from north. They shouldn't go back south again, but they can enter to the north side. So they can enter from the south, and then they can travel through that narrow opening and then go to the north. But when they're done shopping, they should just go out from the north exit.
So what if it was to be considered that that cars would come in from the south side, that it would only be a one-way in. It would only be a one-way in on the south side, that you would only exit from the north side, that nobody could even exit from the south side. This way you'd have a flow of people coming in on the south side.
Yeah, but the
Doing
problem
whatever-
with that is, right, so the problem with that is,
You can't do, somebody's going to the bagel store, then they
right,
have to
exactly.
go all the way through the lot.
And also, you're going to increase the traffic for no reason. Someone's going to the stores down south, by the bagel store, the Chosen, the pizza store. All those cars that come to park to pick up something quick, they have to all travel through the northern part to go out. I think that makes it a little bit silly and too much of a traffic that is not necessary.
You also have
Okay,
another
so
problem. You have one more
Go ahead.
problem, and that's at the north exit, you can only go north.
You can only
And
make a
lot of
right
people are
turn.
going to disobey that and make the left turn, which is dangerous.
Well, I mean, right
going
now,
south.
there's a sign, no left turn. You know,
But I would say half the people are going south when they come out of that parking lot. So if you make it only one exit, you're going to have people making U-turns on Middle Neck Road or making the illegal left turn on Middle Neck Road. So
Could we make the north exit only a one-way and no entrance on the north side? So
That's
that
what we-
anybody
that's
that's,
what he's saying.
right,
Howard, that's what he's saying.
okay.
The only issue I have with this is that if we enter from the south side and you go into the north side to park, and there is no parking, people are going to be stopping there and waiting for another car to move, and it's going to cause a huge gridlock. Because if they leave, they're going to the north side, they're going to go all the way around and come back in through the south side. So
You're 100% correct. I mean, it's going to be very, very exasperating for shoppers that have to leave, make a right turn, and somehow go up to a street, make a U-turn, and come around again. Now, I have a question. Is there some way of suggesting to people somehow that they can park across the street in the lot in between the two banks by the French bakery? And also, I took a walk with Martin the other day, and if you walk past the door in the parking lot where the private houses are, there's signs for no parking on that street. The name of the street. Maybe temporarily could have parking allowed there, and maybe somehow there's a way of letting people know that they could park over there coming through that gate, that walking gate, and that might be an option.
meaning by the park?
Yeah, east of the parking lot.
Well,
He's talking about Margot, and I don't think that's.
Yeah, there's a. No. Okay, because there's plenty of parking there. The street is empty.
Are you talking about the park, behind the fire station?
But no, on Margot, the short.
No,
Margot Place.
Already parked.
Behind it.
You're playing most of the spots already on Margot.
There's a 2-hour parking available Monday through Friday.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to the people that live there. They bought a house on a dead end, and now you're gonna start.
I mean, if anything, if there's going to be
problem, you're looking for an issue.
Okay, then there's also.
Louis, a while ago, we were discussing of doing something to possibly going from the park behind the fire alert to get into the parking lot. So that's also still a possibility.
Discussed a walkway and a staircase back there. On the easement.
Right now, you can only enter into the driveway of alert.
Correct.
And we talked.
And remember,
we're putting something on the east side, northeast. Right there.
Right. We talked about putting a staircase in that location and a gate. Because the problem now is people are going through the firehouse. The firehouse don't want people walking through, using that gate on the side. That gate was initially put there that when they had meetings and stuff like that, that they would use the lot at night and then didn't have to walk around. But what's happened over the years is people started using it as a cut through and were walking on the firehouse property. I think they may even keep it locked now because they don't want the liability of people walking through their parking lot.
Could you zoom in this map?
It doesn't allow me to go into the private property here. It doesn't allow me to go in the lot.
No, that's fine. Who owns this piece of property right there?
That's Mayor. That's part of the village easement that goes from there down to Piccadilly Road. You know, behind the stores, behind the bagel store.
Yeah. So
that's part of the same easement.
So we can actually enter from this to get to the.
Have to put a staircase and a gate in that corner. Remember, Robert Mordecai drew me up the plans for that corner as well. We discussed about. I'm going to use the term pocket parks. We discussed about putting little picnic benches back in that corner, and as well as the other side. And then I said, well, we could put a little walkway here, and then the people, instead of walking through the firehouse, could walk up and down the staircase over there.
Right. I think that may be a good idea because then they can do the shopping and then just come down. And I mean, I don't know if there's parking there or not. I think there's some parking there.
Make a park along the fence. Park.
Right.
Right. We had looked over there as well alongside the park, and it was totally empty. There was a lot of parking spots available.
I think that's not a bad idea.
You have to remember, Howard, first of all, there's a couple of spots there that are firefighters only. You got to remember, when there's a fire, these fire guys are all pulling back there to park so that they could get onto that truck.
Okay, got it. Okay, I don't know how many spots are in the parking lot for the fire department, but I understand.
Those green signs there, those green signs say firefighter parking only. See that green sign there?
Okay.
One other thing, Mayor, that I want to make you aware of, and I don't know if the building department had even gotten it yet. That the house right behind the parking lot, number 4, the first house. I believe that guy has an application in to dormer that house.
For what? That house?
To put a dormer on that house. To build the top of it out.
Oh, okay.
A little ranch. So there's going to be some construction on that house very shortly.
Okay.
But again, discussing, putting a walkway there, I don't think really hurts anybody. My own opinion,
Well, there are shoppers.
Expensive, but it's something that kind of helps the stores that are there and the people walking.
Right, there are shoppers that go that way, that always go through that gate.
And also, too, before there was no temples in the close proximity to there. So now, what happens now is because the temple is over there, and the shopping center gets pretty busy on certain days too. But because the temple is there, people are walking down that alley through to the parking lot to get to the temple from those back streets. If you put the walkway there, then at least they'll walk to the parking lot onto the sidewalk to, instead of walking through the fire department and possibly, causing a liability that someone's rushing in
I think putting a walkway there is a great idea. And I just need a proposal. I know that we were talking about a possible pocket park on the south side of that parking lot.
Spoke about one over here too. I have to see if Robert still has the drawing from that one.
Right. So if you can present to us in the next meeting.
I'll ask Robert Mordecai to meet me over there because he did it pretty good. And also too, he really did the village a huge favor by not charging us to draw those plans, the first plans.
Right. So I think we have this and the pocket park that we discussed in past. So if you can present both of these in the next meeting, that would be great.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Anyway, in the meantime, let's get the traffic flow pattern corrected now. Am I going to put up the signs to no left turn heading south into the parking lot, into the north parking lot? And then the one-way sign, and then the do not enter or one-way sign behind where the barricades are now.
And then also do not enter on the northbound.
Correct.
Right.
No,
not on northbound. I'm in the north entrance.
Heading south in the back of the building would say do not enter. Behind the barricades that are there now, you can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into the parking lot on
the
Middle
north
Road, you would have a do not enter and no left turn. No left turn on the center median, and do not enter on the back of the stop sign or on the sidewalk there.
Right. And also remember that no right turn on the northbound. I think we need to move that up a little bit also. I know.
I know we discussed that, Mayor, but I'm afraid of moving that. And the reason why I'm afraid of moving that is I do see what you're saying. But if I move it and then a truck parks there, then you don't see it at all.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know what? Now that we're going to have that fire hydrant there, I don't think anyone's going to be parking there anyway.
Well, the trucks, I've seen the trucks deliveries and park there. So that's what I'm saying. If you put a big box truck in front of that you're never going to see that sign.
Howard, is there a way? Howard, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Is there a way that we can prevent these trucks to park on that area? I mean, it is very dangerous.
So the only time that a truck parks there.
Yeah.
Right. So we do not advocate or tell anybody or give permission for any trucks to park there. I know that sometimes at 7 o'clock, 7:15 in the morning, there's a produce guy that parks there, and he brings his stuff. He brings his product around to the back of the store. But it's hardly a spot where we get any kind of deliveries. Things are going to be compounded a little worse in the parking lot now. And that's why I was thinking if the north driveway is going to be a one-way out and no access in, then maybe there would be times when I would be able to have a truck parked along the curb on the north side alongside Everfresh dropping off a delivery, which we don't advocate now.
So Howard, that's what we were saying. Northbound is going to be exit only. I mean, the
right,
north
so you don't need two lanes for that.
Is going to be exit, no entrance.
Right, but if a truck comes from the south side, comes up, and then goes towards that north exit, and he has a delivery for us, he could park along the curb on the north exit. It's a one-way out anyway. It's not a two-way anymore.
Right.
Correct?
So maybe. So you're saying then it's going to park by your building, right? On the south side.
Alongside where I was thinking of, right, where I was thinking about the awning. But I'm not looking for that to be a rule or anything like that. I'm just saying that it does ease the parking lot a little bit if we can have a truck there making a delivery. I do get more than one delivery at a time.
Got it. I hear you. I mean, I don't see a problem with it unless someone else sees a problem with that.
Right. I'm not advocating that I'm going to be doing it all the time. I'm just saying it does give you that little bit of leverage. If the driveway that we built on our new property has a truck backed in and somebody else is making a delivery, he could park there. We could take it off the truck and leave.
Makes sense.
Anyone, Louis, you have an issue with that?
Well, now it won't really be conflicting because it's gonna only be one way. Before, you couldn't do it because it was
Right.
two ways. But if it's only one way, then cars could still get by the truck.
And they
Okay,
have to make a right turn anyway. They can't do anything but make a right turn.
right.
I have a quick question. Can the truck be able to maneuver through the south side, through those narrow, and go around all the cars and be able to put
Yeah,
the side there?
they're doing it. They're doing it now. That's the way
Okay.
that they always come in.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure. This way, there's no issues at all.
Okay. No,
Eli,
that's the way they have to come
come
in.
into
Sure.
this, they always come into the south entrance, no matter no trucks. I don't ever see trucks coming in from the north entrance.
Okay. All right.
Come in south.
All right. Well, I'm okay. Anybody from the board has a comment to make on this, or are we okay?
I'm good.
Bart, Annie?
Yep, good.
Okay. Okay, good. So are we going to make a motion for this one also, Peter? Peter?
Yeah, he has to pass a resolution.
Yes, I was on mute. Yeah.
Okay.
I think an administrative direction is satisfactory. But if you wish to confirm that with a resolution, you can do so with a resolution that would authorize the mayor to arrange for the Public Works Department to reconfigure the signage in that parking lot pursuant to the discussion that was just held. I'd be reluctant to try to go through each one of the signages, but I believe that there's a record of that.
Peter, I think he has to pass a resolution because we're changing the signs. The signs
Well,
on
at this point, whether we not let us go forward with a resolution authorizing the mayor to direct the Public Works Department to reconfigure the signage pursuant to that discussion.
Mayor, do you have the notes that I sent you, or you want me to send them to you again, or send them to Brian?
No, well, it's exactly what we discussed, but I do have the notes. I mean, I do have the notes. You can send it to me one more time, but this is what we have discussed today. But
it's what's on my notes. That's what we're changing it to. Right?
We changing anything we discussed now?
Yeah. What I sent you the other day with the way the pattern is that's what I'm changing it to, correct?
Which was, can I just tell you what I have, and then we could confirm it that way? I have that from the north side of the parking lot, no entrance into the south parking lot. On the north exit, on the north side, you could exit only, and they'll install a do not enter sign. On the north exit on the Middle Neck Road median, we're going to have a no left turn sign there also.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And the only thing else that I was thinking of doing, especially now that Howard is going to try to ensure that no trucks park on that side, is to have no right turn that is currently placed, almost, I would say about 50, 60 feet down from the entrance, to move it closer. And hopefully, because there are no trucks going to be blocking it, people will not make a right turn. It's very difficult to see. Again, I missed it a few times. It's behind the trees, many times behind the branches covering, and it's all the way here. And then you go ahead about 50 feet, maybe even more, before you make the right. So I think by moving it to the next pole, if you can zoom in to that pole, right? If by moving it there, I think it's going to make it more visible. So people are not going to, right, exactly. People aren't going to.
Yeah. The only thing again, man, is I'm going to tell you, when a truck parks there, you're not going to see the sign. I'll move it, but when
Louis,
a truck parks, you won't see it.
Louis, maybe do you have an extra sign? One of those signs? Maybe just put another sign there for now.
I could do that as well.
Okay.
Really,
also, you know what? Louis, it's going to, if there's a truck parked there, it's going to be extremely difficult to make a right in that thing anyway.
They do it. Trust me. They do it.
No, you're right,
Yeah,
though.
very-
He
yeah,
wouldn't
very
have an
talented
angle.
driver.
I mean,
If it,
listen, I'll tell you what, the best thing is that Brian, like Brian said, just put another sign up.
All right.
Doesn't-
That's fine. That's fine with me.
I'll leave the other one there, but I'll put another one up.
Okay, good enough. Sounds good with me. All right.
Mayor,
so with
Mayor,
that- yeah.
are there barricades? Do you have any of the temporary construction type barricades, you know, the orange drums? Maybe we can keep them there for all of this time, well, you know, all the time.
The Nassau County Public Works doesn't like anything like that in their roadway.
Okay.
All right. So the resolution, anyone moves that resolution?
I do.
Moved by Steve.
Any discussion on that? Any abstentions or objections? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously.
All right. Next item.
The next item is a dues for Manhasset Bay Protection Committee. There is a letter that was sent out. They are setting the dues at $1,800. This was approved by the board as well during the budget. Pay them $1,800. However, per their bylaws, a village can pull out of the Manhasset Bay Protection Committee if they wishes. So they ask the villages to approve such a payment, or they disapprove it and they can withdraw from the committee. The letter that they have sent, I'm just going to put it up in just a second. This is the letter that the town is contributing $6,000, the county is contributing $24,000, and each village is contributing $1,800. And the dues will be finalized on January 21st. But again, the villages have the option of not paying it and withdrawing from the committee, or just paying it and staying in the committee. Just mentioning that it's already in the budget and it was approved during the budget. So.
All right. Annie is our representative in that board. And I think based on what I've heard, it's really benefiting the peninsula significantly. So I think I don't have any reason to pull out at this time. I'm sure Annie concurs with that. And we have already voted for it. Anyone has any comments or concerns about this? Okay, can we pass that?
I do.
If the board has no objection, so it just remains as is.
Okay. Good.
The next item is to set the 2021 village holiday schedule. Next year is a little challenging because a lot of holidays, they fall on a Saturday or a Sunday. Well, the New Year's Eve will be on Thursday. New Year's Day for year 2021 in just 30 days from now will be on a Sunday. On a Friday. Martin Luther King is always on a Monday. President Day always on a Monday. Good Friday for a half a day, according to the village's handbook, will be on Friday, April 2nd. Memorial Day is always on a Monday. 4th of July this year is on a Sunday. Therefore, the proposal is to move it to Monday, July 5th. Labor Day, Columbus Day, always on a Monday. Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, Thursday, Friday. Now, the handbook mentions that the Christmas Eve is a half a day business, and the Christmas Day is obviously is a holiday, as well as a New Year's Eve is a half a day. Christmas Eve in 2021 will be Friday, December 24th, with Christmas on Saturday. Usually when the holiday falls on a Saturday, we move it a day earlier to a Friday, and when it's on a Sunday, we move it to the following Monday. Now, if we want to do that, then we have to move the Christmas Eve to the 23rd, which is the Thursday, to be a half a day, close the village hall on a Friday, and then the following week will be the New Year's Eve on a Friday. That New Year's 2022 will be on a Saturday. That if you want to move that to a Friday, then the book allows, the handbook allows for 13 and a half days in the year 2021. If you move January 1st of 2022, a day earlier, then that effectively changes the 13 and a half days holiday to a 14 and a half days holiday in the year 2021. Therefore, I am suggesting that instead of moving the Christmas observed holiday from a Saturday to a Friday, the board can please move it to the following Monday and observe it on 27th rather than the 24th. So the following week, when the New Year's falls on a Saturday, that can be also moved to the following Monday in the year 2022. So like that, we will have our 13 and a half days holiday, and the half a day of Christmas Eve and a half a day of a New Year's Eve will remain on correct days. I don't know if I made myself clear, but I can explain it again.
Let me ask you this. Is it possible if it's going to go from 13 and a half to 14 and a half?
If we do that, then in 2022, you're changing it from 13 and a half to a 12 and a half. So it's a kind of a balance. It wouldn't be, but if you want to go by the book says 13 and a half, and we should keep it 13 and a half. But again,
I'm just thinking if it goes like that, if we can get rid of the 2 half days. Are there 2 half days or only 1 half day?
There's a Christmas, there's 3. There is a Good Friday, which is
right.
April.
No, I'm not talking for Christmas and New Year's. It's 2 half days before.
Christmas Eve and Christmas and New Year's Eve are half a days.
Right. So if Christmas is on Saturday, right? Next year, you said?
Yes.
And you're moving it to Friday, then Friday is a whole day off. And then you keep Thursday full day, and then do the same thing for New Year's, move it to Friday. Then you have the 3-day weekend, and you still have 13 and a half days.
And they just get rid of the 2 half days?
And they get rid of the 2 half days. So this way you don't have to do, 14 and a half and then 12 and a half, because I'm sure, you don't want to do that necessarily, because then the 2 half days may actually come handy for many people. This way you actually...
I haven't discussed this with Louis, but from the feedback that I have gotten from Village Hall employees, the proposal that is in front of you is most desirable, but I don't know what Louis and his staff would prefer also. But again, it's up to the board how, it's a village holiday, how they would like to set it.
Because anyway, if the holiday is being observed on Saturday, and instead of having half a day, you're going to get 2 full days. I don't know, and you still get your 13 and a half. I think to me that seems like a logical proposal, but the member of the boards have any issues or questions or concerns?
I think it's very logical. And you get Monday off and half day Friday. Sounds good to me.
I think that Abraham did a pretty good job on it. I think he put a lot of thought into it. He's putting these things on the calendar like that is not an easy task.
No.
So you would rather have 14 and a half now and then 12 and a half next year?
No, Mayor.
No, I think Abraham wrote looks pretty good. And I think the way he stated it sounded perfect. The way the holiday fall.
The proposal would be that the New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve will remain as they are on the 24th and the 31st. And then instead of giving Friday off, we move the holiday observed to the following Monday. So instead of moving it to the 24th, we move it to the 27th, the following Monday. to observe Christmas Day, and the New Year's will be on, I believe, January 3rd of 2022.
Sounds good to me.
Is this how it's being done in the town of North Hempstead?
I'm not sure about their holiday schedule, but and also I've been in the village only 5 years, so this did not happen last. This is the first time under my watch that's happening this way.
Right.
And I do not want to be called a Grinch to not give the Christmas off. So if the board can please consider
Those
this.
days were in lieu of Lincoln's birthday, if I'm correct.
All right, so the Lincoln's birthday will be on a Friday and the Veterans Day will be on a Thursday. Lincoln's birthday always have been a floating holiday. Otherwise, the village will be closed.
But that's why we had the 2 half days.
No. Lincoln's birthday is given as a floating holiday. It's just a floating holiday. It's a full day that any of the village's employee can take at their leisure. The Veterans Day, it's on a Thursday, so that's also the proposal is to give it as a floating holiday rather than close the village on a Thursday. I remember 2 years ago, there was such a confusion regarding the sanitation. And last year, Louis also suggested that we should keep it as a floating holiday. So there is no change in sanitation schedule, but give it as a floating holiday. So as the employee fit to take the day on their own discretion, they can do so. If you want to think about it more, we can table it till next meeting.
No, I'm okay with it.
Just remember, I need this in order to make the sanitation schedule.
Yeah,
So,
I'm okay with this.
That's fine. That's good.
I think they lost the mayor.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the proposed holiday schedule as presented?
I do.
Moved by Hope.
Trustee Hope. And seconded by Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
Any discussion on that motion? If not, any abstentions or objections? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously.
Good work.
Thank you. Thank you. This was just a backup for it to show visually what it was. The next item is the minutes for November 17 meeting. Just let me know when to go to the next page.
Next.
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 Next. Next.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. I'll move it.
Second.
Any abstention or any abstentions?
Or any objections?
Noticing that the last meeting ended earlier than this one. Come on.
Motion passes unanimously. The minutes are approved.
The next item is the abstract.
I just have one question with it. G Techna, what is that?
It's our new court court ticket
Management system.
management system. They have started already to program a server, or what they call a command center. If you remember, it was a $20,000 for the entire year. The monthly charge is a $16.66.67. They started charging from the day that they started working on the command center. They have provided us already with the printers as well. We are in the process of buying the devices now. Also, we are in the process of designing a new ticket that has actually color on it. So it's more, and also it's more simple to be read easily. We'll have a meeting with them this Friday to discuss moving forward.
So the costs were for the monthly charge and for the printer. Is that right?
There is two 1666.67. Yes, those are for 2 months, and there's another one for 1680, I believe.
Right.
That is for the 3 printers plus 3 years warranty on it.
Okay. All right. I make a motion to approve the abstract.
Second.
Peter?
Any second?
Yeah, Bart seconded.
Yeah.
Any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Haramis request.
Okay.
Mr. Haramis.
Yes, so at the last board meeting, one of the residents had brought up about signage, numbers on houses. And the mayor had asked me to look into this a while back, and I went over this with Robert in my department. And it is in the village code and it is in New York State code to have the correct numbers on your home for emergency personnel. When I say emergency personnel, I'm talking about ambulance, fire department, police department. Those are crucial things that need to be addressed when they go to a home. They can't be searching for a house number to find out where someone is, if a house is on fire, if someone is in distress, etc. So it is a local law by the Village of Great Neck, and it also is a state law with New York State Residential Code. So we are going to put this up on the website under information so that residents can see it and refer to it to see what kind of lettering is required by the state and the village. If anybody has any questions on it, comments?
Okay, thank you, Steve.
That's all.
Public comments?
If anybody has any public comments,
Hello?
please just
Yes,
unmute yourself.
Ryan?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, we can
Yeah.
hear you. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
44 Arundel Avenue, Great Neck.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, before I start, I would like to make clear that what I'm about to say has no reflection on the building department supervisor or the building inspector, Dennis, or Jackie and Sheila, who have treated me in the last few weeks with the utmost courtesy and respect. Having said that, I would like to comment on an issue that I have with an employee of the building department. Our building supervisor, Steve, has too much on his plate to have to spend time with me concerning building inspector Robert Mordecai, who has shown incompetence and threatening behavior on the number 46 Arundel Avenue driveway construction, which has had devastating results to the adjacent property, number 44. You need to hire a good, knowledgeable inspector who knows the codes and certainly do not favor or turn blind eyes to construction errors. For Mordecai to approve before completion, issue COs is beyond my comprehension. He really needs to be replaced, period. You have at least 3 to 4 big projects for 2021-22. How can the residents of this village feel confident that the building department can handle these developments when you have an inspector who can't even handle a driveway and illegal gas lines, who chooses to ignore the code and allow 40% of property to be cemented with pavers on top and no dry well?
Right.
I urge, hold on. No. Let me finish. Wait, Mayor Burrell. I have been on this phone and I'm on a landline, so it's not very comfortable. I have sat here for just
I just want to say that it's not
hours.
fair for you
So
to
I'd
say.
like to finish.
Go ahead,
I would
finish.
like to finish. Please don't interrupt. I've sat here for nearly 3 hours on a landline. I would like the same respect that the building department has given me. I urge you to budget for an additional inspector to work on the day-to-day projects so that Steve has some time to concentrate on the major developments. He needs a qualified assistant who can take orders and follow through to the finish. And at the end, I would like to know how legal counsel has progressed with the investigation of number 46 Arundel. You do not have to answer me tonight on that, but I would appreciate it sooner than later. I'm finished.
Okay. Again, this matter needs to be presented from both sides. I have not necessarily heard the other side, and that's why I don't think it's fair to berate anyone in public. And I don't think that it's the correct way unless that person is also online to explain. I don't know. I'm going to ask Stephen and Mr. Haramis to follow up on this, but to just berate someone on the phone in public is against our policies, and I do not appreciate anyone to be berated. These matters are private, and if you have a question, it has to be brought up. And if someone needs to be, any policies needs to be discussed, if they have not been followed through properly, they will go through the proper channel. I don't think this was the proper channel.
Well, let me tell you, I have tried. I have been at the Village Hall many times. I have done my best. And this is the only way, as the Village Hall is not open to a meeting. I can't meet with you and discuss it.
You have my number.
I have your cell phone number, and I certainly wouldn't call it. I don't know if you're operating on somebody, if you're at the hospital. I only have your cell phone number. And
That's
this is
fine.
a village matter. So
This is something, listen, you have called me before, and
I have to bring this to light. I'm asking you a question, and it was amusing to me.
Listen,
It was amusing to me when your first applicant that wanted to do a driveway, the response that came from the village was cement, water can't go through, and it needs a dry well. So, yes, your building inspector has not treated me fairly or right, so I have a right to be able to express my opinion and the suggestion that you do need help with the building department. You have these major projects that are going to go on. The residents are a little worried that you might not have a competent person to handle it. Steve, of course, will be overloaded. So it's something you could look into. Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to say that not all cement pavings require a dry well. It's only over a certain square footage as an addition on the property.
I
And,
understand that, but you don't. But if you pour cement and then put cement pavers on top, I think you'd require a driveway.
No, it's adding impervious surface. Okay, only above
Concrete cement is not impervious.
Yes, it is. Adding
Concrete is impervious.
Yes, impervious. Water cannot get through. Is that, we're on the same page, Gene? Gene?
I wouldn't bother him right now about this. I'm sure you can sort it out. But unless my hearing is going in my old age, I did hear you say to that first applicant that water can't go through cement and it needs to dry well.
Gene?
So let's drop it now. I'm sure there's other people that have public comment and it is getting late.
Okay,
I'd
that's
like
fine.
it sorted out
That's
and
fine.
I'd like an answer. But I do not wish to meet Mr. Mockerheit unless it's at the village hall with someone present in the room, as he's already threatened me. So I would like somebody there and everything recorded what's said.
Okay. Any other public comments?
Yes, I'd like to speak.
Okay, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, 67 Radnor Road. This is Judy Rosenthal, and I would like to talk also about a personal experience that I've been having over many months in dealing with the building department. And I do want to compliment Mr. Haramis on listening to me. However, what I would like to state on public record, and this is why I also spent 3 hours listening to so many things that don't impact me, but I need to get this on the record, that I would like to talk about dangerous conditions as a result of lack of resources and or lack of expertise from our building department. And I'd like to talk about chronic hardship that many residents, including myself, are facing as a result of building department failing to uphold village code. And I know village code was a prominent part of our meeting today, so I know that our Board of Trustees and Mayor does respect the importance of existing village code, that in fact there is a reason why it exists. Big picture, what I want to bring to your attention, all who are listening, is that our codes are not being enforced, and they are having a very large direct impact on residents' quality of life, and more than that, our public safety. And there is concern that among the 2 building inspectors that we have at this time, and so many plans to go forward and modernize and upgrade our community, with so much happening all at the same time, there seems to be a general feeling that perhaps one of the 2 building inspectors is either, and I'm going to be respectful and not name names as Mayor Brawl has asked, but I am in agreement with Jean, but I'm going to respect the criteria as you've asked. There seems to be a general feeling that one of our inspectors is not up to par, even over 4 years, in understanding what our village code entails. And that there's a sense that either he doesn't know the code, might be too busy or maxed out with other village responsibilities to enforce the code, can't communicate the code effectively, or perhaps it's all of it. And I want to be real specific now that I spoke in generalities. My own personal experience with the village and with the building department over several months has led me to see a real breakdown in, again, whether it's resources or expertise with some very basic village laws that in other villages are no-brainers. They're being carried out, and people don't have to beg and plead and send emails 4 and 5 months after the initial letter asking for code enforcement. What am I referring to? 1, going back to early spring and summer, I was and other residents on my block were begging for some relief when we have a June through September law that protects us from gas leaf blowers. Again, that is a seasonal law that has been on our books for many years. June through September, people were calling. There are some very specific instances that I've been trying to get resolved and get relief from on my block, where we have direct harassment from landscapers to the point where police have been called to try to get relief. And you have to know the police are saying, why aren't you bringing this to your village government? And I don't have a good answer for this anymore. So that is one area where I am seeking relief from. But at this point right now, very specifically, there is a law on the books for corner residential properties, setbacks, and a mandatory height of 3-foot shrubbery in order not to block our viewing into intersections. And for many months, as Steve Haramis can attest, I've spoken, I've emailed, I've called, and I've asked him for relief from a neighboring home at 19 Baker Hill Road who's decided to use their corner shrubbery as privacy hedges. All of this has been going over 3, 4, 5 months, and I have to tell you, it's with great consternation that I'm having this experience on Radnor Road, because I can see that our village, when you have projects that you want to get done, like the overhang and electrical work, that got done on a timely basis. Holiday weekends it began, and within several days it was efficiently and taken care of, bing, bang, boom. And yet I am bringing to your attention that my request for enforcement of a 3-foot corner property shrub, Baker Hill Road and Radnor Road. Imagine my shock when, after Mr. Mordecai Robert was involved with this, as he was appointed to take care of this, 50% of the work was completed, and the other 50% that affected me on the Radnor Road side was completely undone. And it left me to think, does our building inspector know code? Does he not know how to enforce it? Does he not know how to communicate it to the homeowner? Because it took many, many calls over many months, as Steve can attest, of my having to beg and plead. And I have to tell you, this is inappropriate for any resident residing here to beg and plead for safety near where they live. If I can't see into the Baker Hill intersection, myself and all of my neighbors are at risk for a traffic accident. And if this still isn't resonating with all who are listening to you, I have to tell you, a few years ago at 7:30 in the morning, I got a phone call from my husband at 7:30 a.m. saying I was almost killed 1 block from our home. This is very real, people. Public safety is very real. It shouldn't happen to you, but because it almost did, there almost was a fatality. I am very sensitive when I see blatant disregard for village code, or why am I discussing it over 3, 4, 5 months? As it stands, 19 Baker Hill Road has been the source of great distress for my family right now, and the people at that home have decided to take upon themselves to come up with sort of an in-between height that they feel is the height for the street that I reside in. I am asking and begging our building department to please maintain the 3-feet code as the village law requires, and to be aware, again, we have a seasonal code where some of us are being harassed by landscapers that are creating hardship in our lives week after week, year after year, and we need relief here. We really do. And if there are no resources, because our guys are so maxed out on new construction, and when we call and say, yes, the gentleman is here, could you send someone now? We get instead the voice machine because they're out on so many other calls. Week after week, month after month, the whole season is past. And the people who are harassing me where I live, going on 8 years now, they have not even gotten a summons from our village because I can't seem to get a building inspector on the same page to show up when this offense is happening. And this is not the only thing happening. I'm just bringing this up. Nobody should be harassed where they live, and I am not the only one. This is happening block after block. People are asking for village codes to be upheld. Other things that really do deserve some attention here are things that have to do with garbage bags and sanitation issues put out the day before, the night before, attracting raccoons. We all know we have a raccoon issue. This is not something that is making our community more attractive. It used to be under other mayors and other people, they would give out summonses in order to advise people and instruct them. This is not acceptable in our village. None of this is going on here anymore. Our village is simply too busy. There's simply too many projects. There's too few people. It does appear that Jean Pierce is making a very good point that, in fact, the only way to resolve this is to get at least an additional person involved who can satisfy the residents' needs for village code enforcement. That, in fact, our quality of life and our public safety has to matter. Otherwise, how can you go forward and upgrade the number of people and levels and all of that that is to come on Middle Neck Road? How can we do that and ensure public safety? I thank you for listening. I'm saying this after great frustration for many, many months. I don't know what else to do, and this is why I've put this on the record, to hope that by doing so, you can respect it and hear this in a broader sense. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is David Slenziger, 15 Beach Road. I also urge the board to take a look at the residence, the house at 8 Church Street, and see the peeling paint and the poor condition of the property. And then you realize that's the residence of the building inspector that the last 2 residents have talked about. And it's totally outrageous. So that's my comment on that. I do want to thank Mr. Harabas for finally posting something about the house numbers. And I do hope the village will do something about it because it's an emergency kind of situation. Now, you've taken some action on a village hall. And what I do wonder is, I have a couple of questions about that. First, is there some kind of range of spending that you're contemplating for this entire project? Is there at least some ballpark estimate? 2, what about selling the current village hall property? When I last asked, I was told there'd been no more negotiations with the school board. Have there been any more? And also, as far as, again, I had asked previously, as part of your plans to move, what about the digitization question, where our clerk said that might be an expensive project that could cost as much as $350,000? Can you answer any of those questions, please?
Oh, Mayor, you're muted, Mayor.
Am I okay? You hear me?
Yes, now we hear you.
Okay, as far as digitization, I can tell you that that has to happen regardless, because it's the safe thing to do and it's the way that we move into the 21st century finally. But so that expense is something that we have to find out how we're going to deal with it, if it's going to be something that what kind of funding we're going to do and how fast we have to do it. Can we do it slowly? Can we do part? Can we not do the other part? But those are the things that is going to be discussed, and that's something that is going to take place probably and most likely simultaneously at the same time as we are going to go ahead with the project of the new village hall. As far as the discussion, has there been any new discussions? Well, there has been recent discussion, nothing major that the school is still interested, and we are still interested in selling it to the school. When it's going to happen, I can't give you that answer because I don't know how fast and how long it's going to take for us to build the village hall. Yes, the discussion has been made in past. The interest is still on both sides. The interest still exists. And we're going to hopefully move forward with that as we discussed previously. As far as how much the village is going to cost, we are waiting to see what the who's going to be the architect chosen, what kind. Obviously, it has to do with the design. There are going to be different designs given, and based on those, It has to be something that makes sense, that is workable, and it's within the budget of the village. So I don't have an answer for that as far as the price goes.
Well, I know what the village budget is, and we all do, but are you not at least going to begin this with some sort of plan in mind? I mean, surely you're not planning to spend $50 million on a new village hall, right? Is there no, what I would call napkin estimate at least of a kind of a range of what it might cost for a 3-story building on Middle Neck Road that would be set up for meetings and offices? Surely there must be some kind of, I'll call it the napkin estimate of what you think it might cost. You've already spent the money to buy the land. Surely you have some other thought of how much the building will
If you want a
will
napkin
account for.
estimate, I would give you anywhere between $1.5 to $3 million.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments?
If anybody has a comment, please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record.
Yes, one more comment. Nina Gordon, 200 South Middle Neck Road. And I just want to say something again about COVID safety and mask safety. And I know, I acknowledge that the mayor has made public statements on his Facebook page, but the statement that I would like to make is that Facebook is a limited audience. The mayor has 600 friends on Facebook. Your population in the village is 10,000. I visit the village page. You have a website and you have news. And wouldn't it be simple to just put announcements on the village page about safety, encouraging residents to practice social distancing and wear masks? That's my request. I have in the previous.
There are messages that are being posted on Facebook of the village as well, and on the website.
I did not see anything on the website. And again, Facebook is limited. That's my point.
Okay, well, last I checked, I thought I had about 5,000 friends and about 700 followers, and my Facebook messages are public. 2, we are putting these messages on our website and on the Facebook as well, if they're not repetitive. So
they are not on the website.
Well, it's on our Facebook page as well.
Again,
So,
you have 10,000 residents. Why do you assume everyone is on Facebook? Not everyone is on Facebook.
Right. I don't know if you are one of those residents, but I know that even on our websites, not all 10,000 people go on our website. So we are doing as much as we can.
Agreed. I would love to see signs.
Right. I believe our village has done a lot more than all the other villages combined in our peninsula. So I don't take that as a serious
Well, you have more population than all the other villages combined. You also have one of the highest rates of COVID of all the other villages.
That's also not true, because if you see, unfortunately, one of the things that I have been doing is fighting false information. If you go ahead and count the number of the people, yes, we do have the highest number because we have the highest population. Our population is higher than Kings Point, Kensington, Great Neck Estates, and Saddle Rock combined. Our number of infected individuals total is less than all those combined. So I don't know if I take these attacks, if I should take them personally.
This is not an attack, and this is nothing personal.
Wait. When this is coming from someone who doesn't even live in my village, I feel that instead of
I can't shop in the village because I don't feel safe.
Really?
Really? When I go into shops in the
Port
village.
Washington? Do you shop in Garden City?
No, I don't. I really have no, I don't. I go up and down Middle Neck Road.
Okay,
Why would I go?
Do you shop in the plaza?
What does that have to do with what I'm saying to you?
Because I want to know, because I'm pretty sure the residents of the Village of Great Neck shop in the plaza as well.
I shop in the plaza, and when I see people not wearing masks, I say something to them too.
Okay.
This is not
Why
about
are you
where,
pointing out our village? If you can't shop in our village, but you could shop in Great Neck Plaza, and I'm pretty sure the residents of Great Neck Village shop in Great Neck Plaza as well. So if you don't shop in our village, it's just your personal choice. It has nothing to do with COVID.
I don't understand your point.
Okay.
And I'd like to clarify saying this is not a personal attack. This is about public health, okay? This is about feeling safe and wanting to know that, when you compare yourself to Kensington, really the only valid comparison is to the plaza, because we're talking about commercial areas. It doesn't matter whether or not I'm a resident. I'm talking about how notices are posted in commercial area. And I don't really want to belabor the point. Mayor, this is not a personal attack at all on you. And I don't really know what is on your Facebook page, because it is not public to me. I can't see what's on your page because you have chosen to block me. So, posting things publicly means public to anyone in the village. And if you put it on the village page, that would be great. That's my suggestion. Okay, thank you.
Karen Green is on, and I have asked, and there are many of those things that get posted. I will ask her again to post it, but you have to also realize, do you really think there's anyone in this peninsula, in this county, in the country or the world who has not heard the social distancing or wearing a mask? And if I go ahead and talk about it, as I have many, many times in different ways, in different fashions, and sending messages on every possible way that I can, Instagram, Facebook. I know you're saying they're not public, but you know something? Most people have seen it. I can tell you that there's not one person in Great Neck, whether my village or any other villages, who do not know about wearing a mask. I have not seen anybody in any stores where I go shopping, and I shop everywhere, from my village to when I go to the plaza or anywhere else. I have not seen anyone going to any stores shopping without a mask. So I don't know what you're saying, that you don't feel
really
safe.
You're very lucky, and trust me, I'll be at
I'll
be at the meeting for the plaza tomorrow night too, because I was out in the plaza. I see groups of teenagers walking down Grace Avenue, no masks, arms around each other, heads together. This is not safe. So it's not just you. Please don't take this personally.
You have to realize one thing. When people are walking together, I don't know if they're the nuclear family, their cousins, their brothers and sisters. I don't know what they are. And you know what? There's no law that I'm aware of, and I discussed it with the county and with the town when we had our meeting, that when you walk in the street, you should be wearing a mask.
If you can keep 6 feet apart, you don't need a mask.
No one has said to me, when I walk with my wife and kids, you don't wear a mask. We don't go into a public that we can't social distance. But I don't condone people wearing a mask, or I don't tell people to wear a mask when they go for a walk. I think people should be able to walk without a mask. Entering into a store without a mask is not allowed. Okay. And I have not seen anyone entering any stores that I have been to, and I go shopping, see anyone shopping without a mask. Not once in the past many months. So for you not to feel safe, I tell you one thing: we are in a pandemic, and wearing a mask protects others. It doesn't protect the one who wears it. And I think everyone should know that. So if you, and I've said this before and I say it again, and I hope that everyone who can see and hear sees this. And if
studies have shown that it does actually protect both the wearer and the people around you. Recent studies have shown that it protects both. And I don't want to look, it's late. I don't want to belabor the point. I thank you for listening. Let's agree to disagree on that point. I just think that it needs to be It needs to be something greater than social media. I think you overestimate the power of the reach of Instagram and Facebook. I really do. You know,
I really believe, I tell you what, I really believe that these medias have much more far-reaching than the village's website. But
well, you ask Jean Pierce if she's on Instagram.
Well, I can tell you.
Not on the village website either.
Well, guess what? So that's why you need signs in the street. It's
Okay.
not a
Well, I
bad
wanna
thing,
see-
you know?
Maybe we should get a skywriter.
All right, I don't make fun of me. My
I'm not making
intentions are
fun.
good.
It's just, you know, you go for the big, you know, in years past, you would post it in the village newspaper that nobody reads, Great Neck News. And so, you know, here we're reaching much more people than ever before.
I'm
Far
sure
greater
Robert
numbers, far greater
appreciates.
numbers than
I'm
ever
sure Robert appreciates hearing that no one reads his paper. All right, thank you for
what can I
listening
tell
to
you?
me.
Any other public comments?
If anybody else, just unmute yourself. I don't see
Okay, I
anything
guess
else.
hearing none, it's way too late. Move to adjourn? No one wants to move to adjourn?
All those in favor?
Okay. All right, have a good night, everybody.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.